An interview with Donald Trump on Meet the Press just aired on Sunday, where Donald Trump says he does not know or believe if he needs to follow the Constitution. This was a full meltdown in this interview. Donald Trump said he really didn't even care if the United States went into a recession, and he said he was going to speak to Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney about conquering Canada and annexing it because Donald Trump wants it to be the 51st state. Let me show you what went down on this disastrous interview. First, Donald Trump saying he doesn't know if he has to follow the Constitution. Let's play this clip.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It seems it might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. But some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here. And the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
Is anyone in your administration right now in contact with El Salvador about returning Abrego Garcia to the United States?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the Attorney General that question.
Donald Trump, you may want to read the Constitution, specifically Article 2, Section 1, Clause 8, which talks about the oath that you took. But you don't even know the oath that you took. You hate the United States of America. Here, Donald Trump talks about the military parade that's probably going to cost taxpayers over $100 million with 7,000 troops, 50 helicopters, paratroopers, and he wants to do a Kim Jong-un style military parade for his birthday in June. Donald Trump says it will be worth it, everybody. Play this clip.
The president also told me that next month he's planning a military parade celebrating the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army that also falls on his 79th birthday.
We're going to have a big, beautiful parade.
A military parade?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We're going to celebrate our military. We have the greatest military in the world.
What's the price tag? Do you
People, peanuts compared to the value of doing it. We have the greatest missiles in the world. We have the greatest submarines in the world. We have the greatest army tanks in the world. We have the greatest weapons in the world. And we're going to celebrate it.
As supporters,
Donald Trump talks about his other priority is building a massive grand ballroom adjacent to the White House. Play this clip.
We are going to make and build a ballroom, which they've wanted for probably 100 years at the White House. And it'll be a world-class, beautiful ballroom.
A ballroom that could cost millions of dollars. He says he will pay for it himself.
You will fund it.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask the government for money. I'll fund it, and I'm sure we'll have some donations to it. But it's not an inexpensive thing.
Next, Donald Trump talks about how when he meets with Prime Minister Carney, he will bring up annexing Canada and taking it over. Play the clip.
It's too early to say that. I don't want to get into that argument.
Let's move on to Canada. You have long talked about making Canada the 51st state. There's obviously a new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, who you spoke to after his victory. He says that you didn't talk to him in that call about making Canada a 51st state.
No, he called me. He was very nice, and I congratulated him. He had a victory. It's a very close victory. It's, there's no majority or anything, so that's going to make things a little bit difficult, I think, for him to run. But he nevertheless had a victory, and he's a very nice man, I think.
Do you plan to talk to him about making Canada a 51st state?
He wants to come and see me. He's going to come this week or next week.
So will you talk to him about making Canada a 51st state, annexing Canada?
I'll always talk about that. You know why? We subsidize Canada to the tune of $200 billion a year. We don't need their cars. In fact, we don't want their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't even want their energy. We have more than they do. We don't want their lumber. We have great lumber. All I have to do is free it up from the environmental lunatics. We don't need anything that they have. We're giving them. I asked Mr. Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau. I said, not Prime Minister, Governor. I said, Governor Trudeau, could I ask you one question? Why are we giving you $200 billion? Why are we subsidizing Canada? If Canada was a state, It wouldn't cost us. It would be great. It would be such a great, it would be a cherished state.
Donald Trump says that he does not believe that he will engage in military force for now in Canada, but he does expect military force against Greenland, against our NATO ally, Denmark. Here, play this clip.
Talked, and I asked you if you would rule out military force to take Greenland, and you said, no, you don't rule out anything. Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need that for national and international security.
But not with
I think
Canada?
It's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
Okay, but you don't rule it out for Greenland.
And by the way, Canada, they spend less money on military than practically any nation in the world. They pay NATO less than any nation. They think we're subsidized. They think we are going to protect them. And really, we are. But the truth is, they don't carry their full share, and it's unfair to the United States and our taxpayers.
But you are not ruling out military force to take Greenland.
I don't rule it out. I don't say I'm going to do it, but I don't rule out anything. No, not there. We need that. We need Greenland very badly. Greenland is a very small amount of people, which we'll take care of and we'll cherish them and all of that. But we need that for international security.
The Trump organization.
Donald Trump is asked by Kristen Welker, so when does this become the Trump economy? Donald Trump says, basically, I'm going to blame Biden when things are bad. And if things get good, that will be the Trump economy. Play this clip.
A deal very badly. We'll see how that all turns out, but it's got to be a fair deal.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now. And I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything. From his auto pen, which I'm sure he knew nothing about some of the things he was supposedly signing.
But, sir, you acknowledge when you announced your tariffs, for example, the stock market dropped. It's been volatile. It has since gone up.
It is,
do you take responsibility for that? Yeah. Do you take responsibility when it drops?
Ultimately, I take responsibility for everything, but I've only just been here for a little more than 3 months.
How utterly pathetic is that? Donald Trump has no concept of trade as well. Donald Trump says that things are booming now because there's basically a trade embargo on China, so they can't get rich off of us. So we're getting rich, Donald Trump says. Play this clip.
And we were very tough with China, as you know. We put 145% tariff on. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. And we've essentially cut off trade relationships by putting that much of a tariff on, and that's okay. We've gone cold turkey. That means that we're not losing. You know, we lost $1 trillion to China. $1 trillion. That means we're not losing $1 trillion when we go cold turkey, because we're not doing business with them right now.
What the hell is he even talking about there? Donald Trump says that he has a warm spot in his heart for Tik Tok, and he says even if he can't get a deal with China, he would like Tik Tok. He's referring to TikTok, to stay open because he's got a warm spot for Tic Tacs. Play this clip.
You would.
I would.
So you're you want to see a deal.
I'd like to see it done. I have a little sweet spot in my heart because, as you know, I won young people by 36 points. That's a lot. No Republican ever won young people, and I won it by 36 points, and I focused on TikTok. So perhaps I shouldn't say this, but I have a little warm spot in my heart for TikTok.
Donald Trump basically says in this next clip that he doesn't give a crap about small businesses. He's not thinking about small businesses, not on his mind. Play this clip.
So small businesses say they are being hurt by the Chinese tariffs, and some could be forced to shut down.
And many businesses are being helped.
Are you considering tariff relief for small businesses?
Why do you always mention that, you know, you pick up a couple of little businesses? What about the car business? They're going to make a fortune.
Maybe you should know, Donald Trump, that small businesses employ about 80% of Americans. Small businesses are suffering right now. And while you lie and claim that prices are lower and everybody's getting rich, we all know that this is a rug pull Ponzi scheme presidency. Donald Trump then says that I don't think that baby girls should, or girls that are 11 years old, need to have 30 dolls. They shouldn't have 30 dolls. They have too much dolls. They should have 2 dolls. he says, and maybe pay more for the $2. In other words, the United States government will be involved in central planning. They will tell you how many dolls that Jews should have. By the way, the oligarchs can have 20, 30, 40 private jets, massive yachts, multiple massive yachts, live in 50 mansions. And by the way, who has 30 dolls? What are you even talking about? Here, play this clip.
Talk about the tariffs. And I want to ask you about something you said this week. Got a lot of attention. You were at your cabinet meeting. You said, quote, I'm going to quote what you said, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30.
Yeah.
And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
But you're basically saying there could be some supply shortages because of the tariff.
We don't have to waste money on a trade deficit with China for things we don't need, for junk that we don't need.
Well,
Donald Trump then attacks judges. Let's play this one.
Part of the same thing, though. The big emergency right now is that we have thousands of people that we want to take out, and we have some judges that want everybody to go to court.
Some of them you appointed, sir, including 3 on the Supreme Court.
They change. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how that happens, but they do change.
Just to button this up, though,
Kristen Welker then tells Donald Trump that prices are going up, which they are. Inflation is rising again right now. And then Donald Trump lies and says, nope, gas is $1.98. It is not. Donald Trump says that everything's more affordable right now and that he accomplished his goal in the first 100 days, that he's made everything cheaper, when literally none of that is true. It is all false. Here, play this clip.
Well, prices are already going up on some popular items. Tires, strollers.
This is such a dishonest interview already. Prices are down on groceries. Prices are down for oil. Prices are down for all energy. Prices are down at tremendous numbers for gasoline. And let me tell you, when you have the big thing, what he did, he spent like a stupid person, which he was, but he spent like a very stupid person. And that was bad for inflation. But what really killed us with inflation was the price of energy. It went up to $3.90, even $4, and in California, $5 and $6, right? Okay. I have it down to $1.98 in many states right now. When you go that much lower on energy, which is ahead of my prediction, because I really thought I could get it down into the 250s. We have it down at $1.98 in numerous places. But when you say costs are going up, even mortgage rates are going down.
Well, but let me give you some examples. These are actual examples. So you're saying the prices that are going down, some prices are going up. Tires, strollers, some clothing in the wake of your tariffs.
Excuse me, that's peanuts compared to energy. Energy is 60% of the cost.
But sir, you campaigned on a promise to bring prices down on day
Well, I don't know. When you say strollers are going up, what kind of a thing? I'm saying that gasoline is going down.
And you see that he just goes into that deranged, demented attack mode. We saw that with Terry Moran and ABC. Frankly, we see it all the time, where he goes, you're just being so dishonest. Just say the prices are going down. Just say the prices are going down. I mean, again, it just baffles me how you could have MAGA mush brain where you could literally go into stores. You can literally see the gas prices and you will believe Donald Trump telling you that the gas price is $1.98 versus literally looking at it and seeing that it's not. That's what's called being in a cult. Think for yourself, people. I know you do, but speaking to the MAGA mush brain people. Next up, Kristen Welker. Kristen Welker says, so you want to unify the country, but you're going after your political enemies? Trump goes, yeah, I don't care, whatever. You got to do that. Attack your political opponents. Play this clip.
Calling for your Attorney General to investigate that.
For a long time. And the other one said that the election was so wonderful. It was it turned out it wasn't a wonderful election. It was a corrupt election.
You said you wanted to unify the country. Does going after political foes undercut that goal?
No, not at all. No, we want honest people.
Okay.
Then Donald Trump attacks the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, and says that Jerome Powell just doesn't like Donald Trump. You appointed him. You picked him. He's your pick. And by the way, it's not that he doesn't like you. He is an economist. He's doing what the economy requires with data. The same way you hate Dr. Fauci, you hate experts, you hate the American Bar Association, saying that's a leftist radical group. They write the ethics laws, the ethics rules, Democrats and Republicans. Here, play this clip.
But I think we're going to have the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to have the greatest economic boom in history.
Today's strong jobs report likely means, not clear, but likely means the Fed is less likely to lower interest rates.
Well, he should lower them. And at some point he will. He'd rather not, because he's not a fan of mine. He just doesn't like me because I think he's a total stiff. And, it's just one of those things. He should lower them. And I wish the people that are on that board would get him to lower, because we are at a perfect time. It's already late, but he should lower interest rates.
Do you rule out?
And finally, Donald Trump says it's okay to have a short-term recession. Let's play this clip.
And that's my question.
Remember
the
this.
long term.
Yeah.
Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
As I said, a complete meltdown, a demented interview. I don't know how you watch that and then say, yeah, you know what? It is what it is. He said he doesn't believe he has to follow the Constitution. He says he's going to speak to Prime Minister Carney about annexing Canada. He says he's going to militarily invade Greenland. He says that we're now winning the trade war against China because there's no trade at all, so they're not getting rich. Now, I just saw the movie Don't Look Up, where the asteroid is coming down, and it shows that people are so invested in their culture wars and modern technologies that they're just not looking up as the asteroid is coming down and hit Earth. This is a don't look up moment. Freight levels are down to almost nothing. Ships aren't coming into our ports. Trucking volumes are down. The business community is saying that they are all about to go bankrupt. Don't look up is what he's saying. It's all going to be a miracle. It's all going to go away. We need to look up. We need to be honest. We need to speak to our friends. We need to use our voices right now. We have the opportunity to do that. And that's what we're going to do each and every day here at the MeidasTouch Network, calling out that fascist scum piece of trash who I just showed you in that video. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.